Hello, M4G CrossFit, Becky here. And this is our first seminar for the Made for Greatness Challenge in 2024. And we are kicking things off talking about goal setting. Thanks for joining us. As you get ready to sit down, listen in, we need a couple of things. We need a writing utensil and we need a notebook. This might be pre-recorded, but it is going to be interactive. So we're going to be asking questions and thinking throughout. You should be able to see my screen now. Here's where we're at. We're at the very beginning of January. We started the challenge on January 1st. Hopefully you've got your starting metrics in that intake form and we're feeling good. It's week number 1. We're going to talk about goals. And before we do that, there are a few folks who are new to our community. So I just wanted to give a little background of who I am as we talk through this seminar and a little bit about my journey as well. Who am I? Becky Ford. I am, yes, married to Tristan Ford, our head coach here at M4G CrossFit. I work full-time for a company called Elanco. It is an animal health company, and I'm in global HR, doing leadership coaching and consulting. I also get to do some work outside of Elanco through On the Rise group. And then finally, do a lot of our CrossFit community activities. You could call me our community coordinator, helping with this challenge, but other events that we host for our M4G CrossFit family. A little bit about my journey, because I know some of you've met me recently and you might not know where I've been in the past. And I think that's important as we look towards setting new goals and transformation for the new year. A little bit about me. I started CrossFit with Tristan in 2013, and I actually quit because I was so bad. And I'll never forget when we moved from Kansas to Indiana, I recommitted to doing CrossFit. And these pictures that you see on the screen are me back in the day. This was 2014, 2015. I weighed quite a bit more at that time, and I was really unhappy. I was unhappy. I'd wake up, didn't want to go to work. I remember barely eating throughout the day, but then binge eating at night. And on the weekends, Tristan and I would go get cookies and just things that were not healthy. And I just wasn't in a great place mentally or physically. And around that year of 2016, I kind of hit a low point. And that's when I really started to focus on not just the 1 hour in the gym, but what am I doing those other hours outside the gym? And you can see on the screen just a little bit of that transformation. I want you to hear this. It did not happen in a 5 to 6 week challenge. It did not happen in 1 year. It happened over the course of time. So from about 2016 to the last couple of years where I've been kind of a consistent body composition, I lost over 35 pounds. I gained over 10 pounds of muscle. Resting heart rate decreased, HRV increased. If you have a Whoop, you know what those mean. I had a child in 2020, so I think that's pretty cool. I actually weighed less when I was pregnant than when I was at my heaviest, which is pretty crazy. And then some things I never thought I'd be able to do. After having a child, I thought that my competitive CrossFit days were over. And since then, I've gotten 2 super high skilled things that I never thought I'd get: handstand walking. And my number 1 goal this last year was to get a ring muscle up, which I achieved during the CrossFit Open. And if you were there that afternoon, you might have seen me cry because I was so happy. And I think the other cool thing is where I'm at now, because of what I've learned around nutrition and physical health and even stress and the impact that has on our health, I'm eating more food than ever before. And at the same time, I'm more lean. And I share this because I want us to hear that this does not happen overnight. And consistency and discipline are so key because we aren't always motivated. And my story is just one. There are so many stories at M4G CrossFit of people who've had even greater transformations than myself. And I want you to, through this challenge, meet those individuals, whether it's in that virtual Facebook group or in the gym itself. There are people within our gym that can help support you and share with you their journey and maybe how they got where they did. That's a little bit of background around me. This is that moment we need you to pull out that pen and that writing notebook, wherever you want to take notes. And we're going to reflect on ourselves. Think to yourself, what were your goals at the start of 2023? What were your goals? And how would you rate how successful you were? We're gonna take about 3 minutes to journal wherever you're taking notes. It might be virtual too. What were your goals? Do you remember them? How successful were you at achieving those? I'm gonna watch a timer over here while you capture those reflections down. Take about 30 more seconds. Hopefully you've captured down what your goals were. If you had any, if you remember them, maybe you had to brush some stuff off in your memory bank. We've all slept since the beginning of 2023. And how successful were you? Captured those down. Let's look at some global data around New Year's resolutions and the success rate. Here's the top New Year's resolutions for 2023. Maybe one of these connects to one of your goals you had. Number one, exercise more and get fit. That is the number one goal people set. Number two, eating healthier. Number three, lose weight. So all of those very much focused on health. And then number four was actually to save money and manage finances better. So the top four New Year's resolutions set this last year. Here's the success rate. According to a study published by the Journal of Clinical Psychology, only about 8% of people were successful. Why is that? We're going to talk about some of that here throughout this seminar. Here's what we're going to discuss today. One, we're going to discuss myths around goal setting. There are some myths. We want to make sure to touch on those because some of those might be why we haven't succeeded in the past. Two, top tools to help us with setting goals. Three, we're going to take some time and we're going to think about what do you want your goals to be for 2024. And then finally, we're going to close out just reminding you of those overall challenge details, some logistics there. If you've got any questions, you can see my email is there on this slide. Let's kick things off with the top myths around goal setting. Here is myth number one. Myth number one is that you have to be perfect. Oftentimes, people will quit a goal that they had because they see imperfection. They're trying to do something, but they're not doing it perfectly, so they just stop. One of my favorite quotes that I always keep in mind is progress over perfection. I love quotes. Another quote of mine, and I use this a lot the year I learned how to handstand walk, was you have to be willing to look like the foolish beginner to ever become the graceful master. And that means we're not going to be perfect. Whatever your goal is, maybe it's around eating healthier. It is okay if you go to a birthday party and you eat some cake and you don't track your food. You don't have to quit on that goal. Don't let that make you quit. You don't have to be perfect. We just need to be progressing towards that direction or desired place we want to be. That is myth number one. Myth number two. Goals should be huge and grand. That is myth number two. While it's great to have a big goal and dream big, breaking them down into more manageable steps is less overwhelming. And so actually starting with smaller bite-sized pieces to goals is usually more successful in the end run. So if your overall goal is to be the president of the United States someday, that's a huge goal. Maybe we start with like some local politics or start with some local things to learn and stair step our way to get there. If you want to be president at M4G, let me know. I fully support you. Do not want to be a campaign manager, but hey, I will back you up. So that is myth number two. Let's go to myth number three. Myth number three is goals should be kept a secret. Some people think that by sharing your goals, you're going to jinx them and you don't want to tell people. It's kind of like blowing the candles out at a birthday party. However, research actually shows that sharing your goals with other individuals who can help support you, actually, you are more likely to succeed. Those other individuals can help hold you accountable. They can help provide some motivation. And also, speaking it out loud makes that intention more real. So goals do not need to be kept a secret. And actually, it's better for you to share those goals with other folks. Myth number 4, once you set a goal, you cannot change it. That is a myth. Goals are not set in stone. As you progress, you may discover new insights or circumstances that might change, and that's okay to adjust what your goals are and have that flexibility. If there's a time when I'm sure all of us learned a lot about adjusting goals, it was 2020. I remember our gym, Tristan, Angie, and I had some very specific goals for the year of 2020, and the pandemic hit. And then we had to close our gym, and we had to adjust those goals and make them more realistic because circumstances changed drastically. So goals, when you set them, it is okay to change them because sometimes that environment we're in, it changes and it forces us to have to be flexible. Here's our last myth, number 5. You need motivation all the time. Relying solely on motivation can be unreliable, actually. And instead, we want to cultivate discipline and consistency. Even when motivation wanes, discipline will help you stay committed and continue to help you take the actions you need to progress. Just the other day, I heard Tristan talking about how grateful he is that eating is such a routine for him, he doesn't even think about it. He doesn't think about stopping by a fast food place or craving this food. It has become so routine, and his consistency around what he eats that it's easy for him to just maintain that nutrition because he's been doing it for so long. That is also one of our goals for this challenge, is that you choose some habits to implement that you can use and are long lasting, that is not just using them for a few weeks, but you're using them and making those habits ingrained into our daily routine so it becomes easy eventually. So that is our 5th myth. Hopefully, as you looked at a few of those myths, it might help you understand. If you look back at your 2023 goals and you think, oh, I didn't achieve that, it's okay. Maybe one of these myths was something that caused you to get derailed. And by recognizing them first before we jump into tools, that can help us be prepared to adjust, to flex, to not think we have to be perfect in order to be more successful in achieving our goals. We are going to go next into best practices. And I just want to share, there's so much good information out there on goal setting. Couple podcasts I really love, the Huberman podcast. He does a lot of research in neuroscience. He's got multiple different podcasts around achieving your goals and actually debunking some things that people have done in the past, some of those myths, but then also what the research shows works best for us to achieve our goals. If you want to go listen to those, I highly encourage you, go find that Huberman podcast. You can search goals, goal setting. He's got multiple ones. Some of the items we're going to talk through today are from that podcast and his research, but simplified because he definitely goes into the science pretty deeply. We're going to talk first about some core tools to help us be successful in our goals. The very first one on the screen, you've probably heard this multiple times. If you haven't, welcome to the world of SMART goals. SMART goals is one of the most popular tools used around goal setting. It stands for specific, measurable, is it achievable, is it relevant, and is it time bound? Or timely might be another way you've heard that. There's different variations of SMART goals, but this is a structure when you're writing a goal that can help us to make sure we're specific around what does success look like. If you set a goal, I want to eat healthier in 2024, that is not specific. What are we going to do and change to eat healthier? I want to reduce the number of times I eat out to only once a week, and I'm going to no longer drink pop for the year of 2024 or for the first 4 weeks. So what is that specific goal? Is it realistic? Can you do it? Is it relevant? If you want to be healthier, then yeah, reducing the times we eat out or drink pop, that is relevant. And what is that time frame? Knowing it doesn't have to be for the whole year. You can do chunks. You could do a month, you could do quarters, you could do weeks if you wanted to. So SMART goals, most popular way to write out those goals in order to know what does success look like. The next one, break it down. We talked about this a little bit in the myths. Breaking down your goals into smaller, more manageable tasks can make them less overwhelming. I like to call these milestones. And this, you can also think of as short-term goals versus long-term goals. Maybe your long-term goal is to be 10% body fat. Short term, you might have some goals where it's, hey, for 3 months, my goal is to track my macros, have a nutrition coach, and to reduce my body fat percent by 3%. So what are some milestones or short-term goals that break it down to then get to that overall big goal that you want to achieve? Finally, visualization. There's some really cool research out there on visualization. Imagining yourself achieving that goal and having that vision can inspire you. And in the Huberman podcast, they actually go really deep into visualization and they talk about how it's super powerful at the start of a goal, but it's actually more helpful when you're in the middle of trying to achieve that goal and your motivation is wavering to have some visualization around failure. If you fail to achieve this, what are the consequences? I will share an example. One of my goals for 2022 was to get a ring muscle up. And I would visualize myself doing it. And I could dream, I could do ring muscle ups in my dreams so well. And I could visualize that. And I'd practice, but I kept not getting it. Then in the CrossFit Open, the first workout this last year had ring muscle ups in it. I showed up to noon class. I did the first part of the workout, row, toes to bar, cleans, wall balls. And then I just stood there and I had minutes to just try to get a ring muscle up and I kept failing and I kept failing. And after that class, I stayed around and I just visualized and thought about what happens if I can't get a ring muscle up. I've worked so hard on my fitness all year long, and this one movement is going to hold me back. And I actually stayed in the gym, and it was not positivity that was keeping me there. It was that consequence and failure. And I kept trying to get a ring muscle up and trying different things. And that day, I got my first ring muscle up. I know a few people were there, and yes, I cried because I was so overwhelmed by emotion. And that was one of the highlights of 2023 for me. And it wasn't until I had to really think about the consequences of failing that I had the grit to make myself get one. So visualization, a very interesting tool here. Once again, super powerful for that positive visualization at the front end, but in the middle and maybe even towards the end of your goal, it's actually helpful, that neuroscience side that Huberman podcast talks about, to visualize failure and what happens if you don't achieve this. We've got 3 more tools we're going to talk about here. We've got accountability. We heard this in the myths that keeping your goals a secret, that is not helpful. We want to share those and find someone to help hold us accountable. Be your accountability buddy, show up. I know there are so many people at the gym. You've got a workout buddy and you are way more consistent because they text you and they say, I'm going to this class, and you show up. Accountability is powerful. Number 2, time management. Anytime someone says, I didn't have time for that, I always think we have the same amount of time. It is about prioritization. How do we prioritize our day to do the most important things and make sure we get those done, whether it's first or we're making sure to block that time on our calendar. I have my gym time blocked in my work calendar because that's important to me. And yes, I have to make exceptions and change things up sometimes, but it is important to me. It's on my calendar and it's a part of my just basic expectation for that day. Meal prepping is another one. Time management wise, I hate cooking throughout the week, so I do my meal prep on Sunday. And that is just a part of my routine. Once again, prioritizing a couple hours on Sunday so that I have more time throughout the week. The last tool here around goal setting that's been shared quite a bit is journaling. You may or may not be into journaling. There's a couple pieces here I want to call out. The neuroscience actually shares that it is most powerful to write your goal down every single day. Not just once. This is what I used to do. I used to write my goal down on a piece of paper, put it on my mirror, and see it every day. But actually, the science shows that doesn't work because you see it, it starts to become a part of your environment. You start to forget about it. It's not special. But writing down your goal every single day in a journal or notepad, that actually is proven to recommit ourselves to that goal. The other part about journaling is by capturing down, it's actually, Shyla gave me this, 1 line a day. I do this every single day, and it is just a short paragraph or so about the highlights of that day. And this journal I will fill up over the course of 5 years and be able to go back and reflect few sentences, what happened the same day 2, 3 years ago, and use that as an assessment for how you've grown, how you've changed as a person, what you do, all of that. So journaling is really powerful. We've talked through some tools. We're going to think about our goals. If you need some help from technology, you can see on the screen here, these are some of the top used apps and technology for goals and tracking. There's your to-do list, whether that's on paper or in your notes on your iPhone or iPad. There's Trello, Habitica, there's Evernote. You see a few up here. Habitbul's another one. Those are the top apps and technology you can use for goal tracking. In our challenge, we have that Excel spreadsheet, so that's really helpful. A little bit more manual. Let's take some time to reflect on our goals. On the screen here, we see some questions. You can take a screenshot of this and reflect on them on your own time. I will also email this out to everybody. We're going to think about, what do you want your number one goal for 2024 to be? What should it be? And one of the things we want to focus on in this challenge is 1 to 2 goals, no more than that. We want to prioritize 1 to 2 key goals. Once you think about what you want your number one goal to be, why is this goal the most important to you? How will it change who you are? How will it change what you do? And when I say how will it change who you are, that doesn't mean your personality is changing. It might mean you're a more disciplined person, you're more consistent, you're more reliable. So when we think about that, don't think your personality is going to change, but think who you are, your character, how will that change? Those are a few things we want to reflect on there. Once again, take a screenshot. I will send this as well. Here's the second one. What do you need to add into your life to achieve this goal? What do you need to eliminate or reduce from your life in order to achieve this goal? Who can you tell to support you? And can you break this goal down into more manageable milestones for throughout the course of 2024? We're going to think through those, trying to keep this seminar to a good time. So I'm going to send these out for you to do. And once again, you can take a screenshot and reflect on these different questions. We want to write our goal down, have it written down in a notebook, type it up, print it off. What is your goal? No more than 2 that we're really going to focus on here at the start of 2024. This is a quick seminar on goals, some myths, some tools. I'm going to email all these slides to all of you, and I encourage you, please, this weekend, take some time to reflect, capture down your goals. And if you want, you can share those with me, or you can share those with someone else who you want to be your accountability buddy within this challenge group. You can post them in the private Facebook page as well. We'd love to see what goals you have. A few challenge reminders here. Here's our different seminars that we're doing. We're doing the goal setting one today. We have nutrition coming up, habits, and then mental health. You've got an Excel document to track things. Please save that to your computer, track every single day. It is up to you. You can track everything that's in that Excel document, or you can just prioritize those quadrants that give you points. At the end, we will ask you what your total points were, and that will help us determine who our effort winner is. And then finally, make sure you've done your intake form if you haven't yet. That should be in your inbox. It's a Google form to take that and fill out your starting metrics. Finally, our virtual host, they will be sharing a post every single day in that private Facebook page. Comment, like, share your tips, engage there. And remember that we will also have an Empower winner at the end of this challenge for the person who empowered others the most. With that, I want to thank you for your time, for being with us, for taking part in this challenge and supporting your fellow M4Gers. Our goal is that these habits and routines continue on throughout the rest of this year and maybe a lifetime to help you be your best self, physically, mentally, spiritually, as a holistic person. Can't wait to see you again in the gym. Thank you all, and we will see you next week for our next seminar.